Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about shimming padlocks and which ones are possible and which ones are not. Both of these are 60mm padlocks. One is by Ace and one is by Brinks. This one is a 4-pin and this one is a 5-pin. But when you go to shim the Shackle, it doesn't matter how many pins there are. What matters is whether or not there are ball bearings in there, which you won't be able to tell until you open the Shackle. These are ball bearing type of locking mechanisms. And the thing about these are, when you turn the core, then the ball bearings have a place to go to fall back and release on these type of locks. And when you don't have the core turn, there is physically no way for this thing to come through other than like brute force, going through the bending the metal. So that's why ball bearings are usually a little bit better as far as a locking mechanism on the pawl, because they cannot be defeated by shims. And if you watch Bosnia Bill on how to shim a padlock, he always says if you look down here and you've got gaps, as in like in this case, this side has got a big gap and this has got a little gap. So you always take the side with the littlest gap and try to shim it first, because you're going to lose a lot of that when you push the shim in. It's going to actually force this other side a little bit. So usually on most padlocks, like on this one side goes in very easily, and you can start from the side and rotate your way around. What I use in this is a little hammer sometimes to make sure that sucker's all the way down. It's this little brass hammer. Sometimes you have to grab this with the Leatherman, and I would recommend the shims that you get from like Southord or Sparrows or Peterson's, and not the Banggood ones, because even though these are spring steel and well made and everything, you will bend them, and you will, they don't last forever. You'll get one, maybe two, sometimes 3 uses out of them, and then they break. But what I do basically is I push both sides down, and you want to get this over to this side. Now, on one of them, I noticed I was having a hard time turning, and it was actually caught on this rivet back here. But as long as you got it facing like that, you should be alright. Now, on this one, I had to get a little assistance from Leatherman here to help turn this guy around. You can also use a little bit of oil to help you. There we go. I don't know if it went all the way over. That click was not the lock opening. That was it getting past this little rivet over here. But you basically bang around and struggle with this puppy. You want to make sure that that guy is as flush as you can get it, because you're trying to reach down to the pawl. Let's do a little tapping, a little pulling and bending. And like I said, these things, I've had them shear. Alright, that one's in there. Now, when you're like that, you should be able to open it. But I want to make sure that it's all the way flat, so I just tap it just a little bit. And then you should be able, there we go. See? Now, that's not a core shim, that's a Shackle shim. And it worked on that Brinks. Guess what? It does want to work on this Ace. I don't know if it's the tolerances are better. See, I can take one shim and put it in there and get it to go in real well on this side over here. It'll go all the way down. You can tell that it's engaging the pawl too. But I do not have enough room to get a shim on the other side, and like I said, this is the biggest gap, so this is usually not the one you want to do. I went over on this other side over here and tried to get this guy in with a hammer and everything else, and all I do is I wind up bending the tip of the shim. So my thought on this is, if it's got these type of pawls on it, even though it's a big lock, if you need to get into it with, a non-destructive entry, don't forget shackle shimming, because it's possible in a lot of locks, even higher end security locks sometimes. If it has locking balls in the mechanism, like on these, even though you've got a lot of tolerance up here, there's no way. There's no way you're going to shim this thing. So they don't have to have super tight tolerances on the shackles. But if you can look up on top of basically you just look up there and see how much of a gap you got. And you can wiggle the shackle around to see if you've got a little bit of play. But that's all there is to shackle shimming. It'll work on some locks and it won't work on others. That's all I wanted to say on that. Even on big padlocks, don't forget about shimming if you happen to have shims with you. And these things do wear out. I would recommend, I just carry them around this Crown Royal bag. They do wear out. They do get torn and broken. And you will need to replace them every so often. So there you go. Some locks are shimmable. Some padlocks are shimmable and some are not. And there's only one way to find out. So I hope everyone's having a good time. And I'm in Texas, but I'm not in the flood zone area yet. I'm near Dallas. Houston and everything. I used to live there. Is underwater right now because of Hurricane Hugo. So I hope everyone's doing well, and if any of my lock-picking buddies in Houston are doing well, I hope you're actually see this. I hope you're doing all right. Get a boat. They recommend people to be up on their roof if the water's up to the second story of your house or apartment, and that's pretty tall water. So, hope everyone's being safe and enjoy your weekend.